Starkey. And thank you guys all for sticking around. I know I'm the last presentation here, and I'll try and be, quick and concise. So as Dr. Starkey had mentioned, my name's Scott Murray. I've been with Sanimax for over 9 years on the finished goods sales and marketing side of things. So I'm a sales guy, and I'm not an expert on these things, but any questions or things I can't answer, I'll be sure to get you guys in contact with the right people. So I'm pretty honored here to represent Sanimax and talk about our journey through sustainability. There's 2 projects we're going to talk about today. Oh, we start there. There's 2 projects we're gonna look at today. The first being our biomass boiler at our Quebec City plant. And the second one is our joint venture with a company called Entosystem. And what they do is produce high quality insect proteins and fertilizers. Very similar to EnviroFlight, what Dr. Kustos, her really good presentation, talked about. So you will see a lot of repetition per se, but there's some differences, and yeah, excited to talk about it. So in both of these projects, you'll see how Sanimax is diverting material away from the landfills, and we're revaluing it in a sustainable way. But first, being the sales guy, I do have to do a quick overview on Sanimax as it is. So at Sanimax, our vision is to be recognized by our customers as the very best partner for organic materials collection and transformation. Our mission can be summed up with 3 easy steps: reclaim, renew, and return. And a few years ago, we used to have a marketing saying that we are the 3 R. So it kind of rolled off the tongue nicely. But reclaim, recover the unconsumed organic materials from the agri-food industries. Renew, we transform them at one of our facilities into high quality value-added ingredients. And return, that's what I'm doing, distributing the new value-added ingredients, so our proteins, fats, and oils, into the marketplace. So Sanimax's company profile. So we are a family-owned company with our headquarters are based in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And our growth has come by purchasing other companies, both domestically and internationally. We have 18 sites with over 2,500 employees, and we reclaim and process animal byproducts, used cooking oil, hides, skins, as well as food waste. Our global customers include feed companies, chemical manufacturers, tanneries, soap producers, pet food manufacturers, fuel blenders, and farmers. You can see our global presence. Map's a little small, but there are 18 sites: Canada, US, Colombia, Brazil. I forgot to mention that Sanimax is 86 years old. So we've been around quite a long time. And I believe we're in our 4th generation of the family that's running it now. So very exciting stuff. But in 2010, Sanimax expanded into the US. But that's just the beginning. And in the last decade, we expanded into Brazil and Colombia. And my former colleague, Felipe, who was speaking here today, he was pretty instrumental in that South America transition. So the first project we're going to talk about is the biomass boiler. And this really all kind of started with the mad cow disease and BSE that occurred in Canada. So in 2003, mad cow had been found in Canada, which resulted in the removal of specified risk material, or SRM, which I'll be referring it to. So removal of this material from cattle being slaughtered for human consumption. To limit the spread of the mad cow disease, or BSE, among cattle and protect animal and public health, it wasn't until in 2007 where Canada prohibited the use of SRM from cattle to be fed to any animals, which included pets, or used in fertilizers. So We have the one facility in Canada that's a ruminant rendering plant, and that's based in Quebec City. And so all of the SRM material that's collected in the province of Quebec is processed at this facility. We have an SRM line separated from our other line. And once the SRM material is processed, it's a cracks. That was being sent to landfill for disposition. So seeing an opportunity here to further our sustainability initiative, Sanimax sought a better way to utilize that SRM cracks or meal through a biomass boiler that was built in 2012, 2013. And so what this biomass boiler would do was incinerate the SRM and help produce energy for our rendering plant. The biomass boiler can incinerate 200 to 250 metric tons a week of this SRM and generate 30 to 40% of our plant's steam needs. So for those of you that aren't aware of SRM material, try to use the laser here. SRM, specified risk material, it consists of the cattle's brain, eyeballs, the vertebrae column, and intestines there. So what we're doing is we're collecting all that, it's being segregated, and then running through this line, and it's being incinerated essentially in the biomass boiler. So benefits, kind of touched on it. We're helping to divert that SRM from just going to landfill. It was a cost to Sanimax, and it's now becoming an asset to the landfill. I'll talk about it in a little bit here, but the landfill will use the ash content from that as a medium, covering medium for everything else. We are reducing how much nat gas we would need to burn and therefore reducing greenhouse gas emissions, all while helping generate steam at our boiler. The province of Quebec is a part of the carbon credits market jointly with the state of California. So with this biomass boiler, it helps Sanimax lower our obligation for carbon credits that we need to purchase. And the carbon intensity score is much lower than what's the industry benchmark on rendered products out there right now. So how it works, just a brief overview of kind of how it works. So the feeding hopper here is where all the cracks will be fed into. And from there, it gets piled onto these augers, these ash augers that kind of step down there. This primary chamber is where the incineration process happens. And as these augers are slowly moving that ash content across and down, the material is getting denser and denser, which eventually does fall out in that bottom ash outlet there, the first one. And then the lighter flakes that burn off will float up top here, continue to burn, and as they fall down, they'll get caught in this fly ash outlet. And then the hot flue gas that's produced gets pumped over into our boiler for the rendering process. So here's just a design of the biomass boiler that's on the back of our Quebec City plant. And here's a picture of it in construction. So it's that's the kind of looks like with the schematic that I just showed you there. It's quite an impressive machine. And then this is the final, after it was completely constructed. That's all of it right under here. This is our rendering plant. And then this is the inside picture of what it looks like. So it's hard to see and hard to tell from this picture, but it's over 6 stories tall. It's pretty impressive. And then some facts here for you. So it incinerates the SRM meal at a temperature of 850 degrees Celsius. So that's over 1500 degrees Fahrenheit for a period of 2 to 4 seconds. And that's mandated by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency in Canada. At this time and temperature, it will completely destroy the prion that causes mad cow disease in the SRM. And as I mentioned before, the end product from the biomass boiler is an ash that landfills want and use as a covering medium. Lastly, the air that's used in the biomass boiler comes from our rendering plant. So it also serves as an air treatment unit, helping Sanimax reduce the air scrubbers that are needed and water chemicals. And I didn't include it on the slide, but some of the other items that the biomass boiler can incinerate as well, that we've got permits for in Quebec is melamine wood, slaughterhouse sludges, biomedical waste, and technically anything that goes to the landfill. So the second project that I'm going to talk about through Sanimax's sustainability journey is a company called Ento Systems. And as I mentioned, there will be some repetition here with Dr. Kousis's presentation on EnviroFlight. So I do apologize for that. But the company started in 2016 in the apartment of one of the founders, where they saw an opportunity and future for the insect proteins using organic waste in a sustainable way as a feedstock. Ento Systems has a young, energized, and dynamic team, which has grown to 75 employees today. At Sanimax, we had already been collecting organic materials from our raw material customers. So this made for a really natural synergy between the two companies. This partnership between Sanimax and Ento System is a sustainable solution to the organic materials that we collect, and it's turning it into value-added insect larva protein for livestock feed, aquaculture, and pet food. And then the frass, which is the droppings from the black soldier fly, it gets used for fertilizer. So Ento System uses the black soldier fly, as we've seen in the other presentation. So other companies have used mealworms, crickets, and grasshoppers. But the black soldier fly can consume food waste really easily, and they really like it. They do not have any known diseases. And during the larva stage, they can grow very quickly. The adage is 10,000 times their size in roughly 10 days, which is a little bit of a misconception. But it's comparable to a rabbit growing to the size of an elephant. So it's pretty impressive. And then lastly, they do not sting or bite. So it makes for growing and handling them much easier. So this slide, we saw it in the EnviroFlight presentation. And I had noticed there was some of these numbers were a little bit different than the Ento System one here, which I don't know, but maybe it's the technology and whatnot. But from the day the egg hatches to the day that Ento System harvests the larvae is about 14 days. So not 10,000, but 14 is what Ento System is doing it. And that's the point where Ento System is harvesting, is at that point right there. The reason for that is as the larvae goes into the pre-pupal stage, the pupal stage, and starts their metamorphosis transformation into the adult fly, they stop eating. So we want to harvest them at their peak eating point. And then Ento System keeps about 1% of the colony to maintain the full supply chain at the facility. So some important facts on Ento System. The plant was completed in late 2023 in Drummondville, Quebec City, Canada. That's about halfway between our Montreal and Quebec City plants. So it makes for a good logistics standpoint from our transportation routes. So we are pretty new, and it's a startup, so lots of learning. The facility, the plant is pretty impressive. It's 100,000 square feet that has the capacity to process 90,000 metric tons of material per year. Majority of that will be organic food waste, primarily fruits and vegetables, supplemented by grain and grain byproducts. This picture that you can see up there, that's an actual picture of what Entosystem receives from our raw material customers. So what would happen is all this product gets dumped on the floor. It then goes through depacking machine where it separates about 99.5% of the plastic from the organic waste. From there, the organic waste is kind of blended and turned into what's called a salsa. And then the salsa is then combined with some grain byproducts and then fed to the larva. The finished product produced will be 5,000 tons of dried larva and 15,000 tons of frass per year. So there's about a 70,000 ton difference between, and that's pretty much water. All this will be done 24/7, 365. And compared to the modern agricultural supply chain, with insect proteins, the full supply chain all happens under one roof. So breeding, nursery, the rearing, the feed manufacturing, the harvesting, and the packaging is all done in our facility. Currently, Entosystem, because they are a startup, doing a lot of R&D right now, they're producing only the dried larva and frass at the moment. They found a pretty good market with the dried larva into backyard chickens right now, so going direct to retail. But as the capacity grows at the plant, they do have the capacity to press and separate the materials into the meal and oil eventually. So these are the products. The dried larva, as I mentioned, and the frass are currently what's being produced at Entosystem, but they do have the capacity to press and make the meal and make the oil. They're just not there yet on a capacity standpoint. So here's the picture of the plant. As I mentioned, it was built in 2023. Ramp up started July 2024, and you know, it's going well. Not full capacity yet, but we're definitely getting there. And it's been very exciting so far with the results that we've gotten. So, any questions or comments, I'll be happy to, you know, do my best to answer. And if not, I'll get you in contact with the right people. Thank you very much.